Christmas Day was actually one of the best days and one of the worst days for me growing up. It was one of the best days because it's something that you were always looking forward to. The Christmas time, and especially, actually I would say Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Christmas Eve, part of our family would get together. We would go, we would eat, we'd open up presents. And so as a little kid, I would get all kinds of neat presents, on Christmas Eve and begin the process of playing with those gifts. And then I knew that Christmas morning I was going to wake up and I was going to go down and there was going to be more presents for me to open up. And then I would go down and do that. But no sooner than I open up the Christmas gifts on Christmas morning, then my mom and dad were kind of shuffling me up and all my brothers and sisters, to take us to Grandma's house for Christmas again. And that was kind of exciting, but there was two problems. One is I really didn't have enough time to play with all the stuff that I got. And so it was really frustrating for me to have to go and to get dressed and then to go to my grandma's house for the other side of my family. And then the rule at the other side of my family is that we would open up the presents there, the very last thing, no, actually the very first thing, but you weren't allowed to play with anything. And so I was just this ball of energy anyway, and so I was always in trouble. I was always running around, getting into things that I shouldn't get into. And so I was always kind of in a grumpy mood by the time that I got there, because I knew that even though I was probably going to like the presents that I got, I haven't had an opportunity to play with anything. And this one particular Christmas, it was really, really tough, because I actually got something at my grandma's that I really, really wanted to play with. And I couldn't even tell you what show it came from, but there was a television show. I want to say it might have been something like Battlestar Galactica or something like that. And there was this spaceship. And the spaceship would kind of break into two and then would turn into two spaceships. And then you could put back together, and it was the big battleship. And the really cool thing about all of this was it was really loud. You could push the buttons, and it gave off all of the battle sounds. It gave off all the commands that people would give into that. And at that time of life, that was a pretty big deal technologically. And I can remember that was the first present that I opened at Grandma's. And I just wanted to play with it so bad. But every time I would make my way to it, my mom would just kind of scoop me up. Because if I started playing with my toys, the other kids would want to play with their toys. And then all the toys would get mixed up. And so I was supposed to just stare at it and be happy that I got it. Now, what fun is a present like that? A present that we get that we've been looking forward to. We usually want that present because if we're little kids, we want to play with the toy, or for big kids, we want to play with whatever it is that we got at Christmas. And if Christmas was just about getting gifts and opening it up and then just staring at it and thinking, oh wow, I've got it, but we didn't do anything with it, would kind of be pointless as far as the giving of gifts, wouldn't it? Now we know that people give gifts for the purpose of us using them. If somebody gets you a vacuum cleaner for Christmas, moms, they want you to use it, right? You want to use it right then? No. So you're like, I got one of those. You shouldn't be joking about that. But whatever it is, we want to use that thing. We wouldn't think about getting a gift on Christmas and not using it and not playing with it immediately. But I'm afraid that for some of us, when we think about the gift of Christmas, and Jesus coming and giving himself to us as our salvation, some of us are just okay with looking at the gift and going on. sometimes we don't interact with that gift. Sometimes we don't think about that the only thing that makes Jesus worthwhile to us is if we engage with him. And you see, as we celebrate Christmas, it's important to understand that the gift of Jesus coming to us is given to us for a reason. Jesus came not so that we could just say a prayer and think that everything was going to be okay. Jesus came to us not because he just wanted to see what we were going to do. Jesus came to us, and he comes to us because he wants to interact with us. He wants to have a relationship with us. He doesn't want to have a relationship with you that's just over once in a while thing. He wants that everyday connection with you and I. He wants to talk to you. He wants us to talk to him. He wants us to draw closer to him. And as we begin to interact with this beautiful gift of Christmas, as we begin to interact and we begin to draw closer to God, then wonderful things can begin to happen inside of us. More understanding can happen. I think a lot of times when I talk to people and they say, well, I don't understand. And so what we do is, because we don't understand God, then we do one of two things. We'll either attribute some negative intentions towards God. Maybe God's trying to teach me a lesson, or maybe God isn't as good as everybody says that he is, or we tend to believe that, God's so big and so outside of my thought pattern that I'll never understand him. And so we just kind of hold ourselves back a little bit. When it's in those moments that we don't understand God, that he wants to interact with us the most. It's in those moments that we don't understand what Jesus is doing, that he wants us to have this connection with him, that he wants us to say, hey, talk to me. And it may take time for us to hear the words that he's trying to share with us. It may take time for us to understand where he's taking us. It may be years back when we look back and we say, oh, that's what God was doing in my life during that time. That there's all kinds of things that we can do if we'll just, instead of separating ourselves and walking away from God as he's walking close to us, if we'll take steps towards him. And the way that we do that is by spending time with him. The way that we do that is by, instead of just assuming that we can never understand anything about God, getting into the Word, coming together for corporate worship, praying to God, engaging in disciplines of the church, whether that's communion, whether that's meditation, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go on today. As we, for lack of a better term, we do our part. I don't know if any of you are fitness buffs, but I have been wanting these their straps, and they're called TRX straps, and it's basically suspension weight training. And so you kind of hook it up to something high, and then you grab it, and you use your body weight to do all the exercises. And I started doing this at a gym that I was in a couple of years ago. It's a really good workout, and I just thought, man, wouldn't it be great if I just had those, because they're small, they don't take up any room. And I wasn't really expecting those for Christmas, but last night as we kind of opened up our gifts, because we do that on Christmas Eve, because quite frankly, I can't wait till Christmas morning to do it. And so we opened those things up, and I got those TRX straps, and man, I was excited about that. I was like, wow, I didn't think my wife would give those to me, because any other workout equipment that I've gotten other than my bicycle that I ride all the time usually becomes a coat rack or something like that. But she got those things for me, and you know what? Those are fantastic. But if I don't use them, then they're just a thoughtful gift. And better yet, if I don't use them, I'm probably never going to get into any kind of shape. You know, I wish that all it took to get into shape was to buy the equipment. But you got to use the equipment. And again, it's really important for us to understand that. As we try to draw closer to God, it gets hard. It gets difficult. And that's where sometimes we just kind of back off because we assume it shouldn't be that hard. And we're not going to read this morning a typical Christmas passage. We're going to go to Titus in the second chapter. And in Titus, you know, Paul was writing this letter to him, and he had left Titus in Crete. Crete was, if there was a place that resembled a modern-day Las Vegas, it was Crete during this time. Paul had started churches there, and as he left Titus there, Titus was starting to get a little bit discouraged because it was really hard to continue to preach the gospel. It was hard for the church to continue to expand, and so Paul wrote this letter to Titus in Crete, basically saying to him, you know, it's okay, you can do it. Your job is to train pastors. Your job is to continue to do the things that we've started there. And I can just imagine Titus saying, but you know what, Paul? When you were here, you're Paul. You're an apostle, but I'm just Titus. You kind of left me here with nothing really to other than a mandate from you, and Paul, this is hard. And so Paul's reminding Titus in the passage that we're going to look at this morning of the fact that Jesus is Emmanuel, God with us. And he's reminding Titus in this passage that it's hard. And he's reminding Titus in this passage that, but you can do it if you will work and if you will do your part. And so in Titus chapter 2, starting at verse 11, it says, for the grace of God, this is Paul speaking, has been revealed, bringing salvation to all people. And we are instructed to turn from godless living and sinful pleasures. We should live in this evil world with wisdom, with righteousness, and devotion to God. And while we look forward with hope to what the wonderful day when the glory of our great God and Savior, Jesus Christ, will be revealed. In other words, what he's saying is salvation has come to us. And because salvation has come to us, that we should live in this world looking for wisdom, for righteousness, and with devotion to God, while looking for his second coming. And so salvation has come, and that's wonderful. But now, Titus, you have to remind people that they have to live their life free from evil. They have to live their life with wisdom, with righteousness, and devotion to God while looking forward to his coming again. Or maybe he would say it this way. Jesus came as a fulfillment of the promise of our salvation. He promised to come again. Live as though he will come again. You recognized him the first time. Live so that you will recognize him when he comes again. Verse 14. He gave his life to free us from every kind of sin. I wasn't planning on focusing there. But as I read that again, not certain kinds of sin. Not the small sins only. He gave his life to free us from every kind of sin. And not only to free us, but to cleanse us and to make us his very own people, totally committed to doing good deeds. You must, Titus, teach these things and encourage the believers to do them. You have the authority to correct them when necessary. So don't let anyone disagree or disregard what you say. I'm going to tell you something. Those are pretty powerful words to a man that's left to bring and train pastors and to continue the work in a city like Crete. Because what happens in Crete stays in Crete. The sin of a culture and the rampant selfishness and all of the things that Titus was just kind of wondering, Lord, why in the world did you put me here? Why didn't you put me somewhere like Rome? Oh, that's because Rome was just as bad. Maybe Titus was even wondering, Lord, why is it that I always have to be on top of people who say that they love you? Why do I have to remind them that they need to live a life of devotion to you? Why do I have to remind them that in this evil world that they need to live with your wisdom, with your righteousness, and your devotion? And part of the reason is as much as we don't want to admit it, there hasn't a lot of things changed from the first century to the 21st century in the way people think, in the way people process. See, the other thing about Christmas that as I've gotten older and I look back on, that I remember, is that after about a week of playing with that loud, obnoxious toy, I either broke it or just forgot about it. And it became just another toy in my toy box. It didn't mean that I didn't appreciate it when I got it. It didn't mean it wasn't the thing, that it wasn't my most favorite gift. It just, something better came along. And I think especially in our society, we live in a society where we're always looking for something better to come along. When if we'll just stay the course and step closer to Jesus, as Jesus steps closer to us, it will get better and better and better. We don't think like that, though. We want a better Jesus. We want a better church. We want a better pastor. We want a better experience. We want a bigger splash. We want a better gift. And we're looking for something better and forgetting that the gift of Christ to us is so good that it can never be topped. But it takes us continuing to learn, to become that lifelong follower of Christ, that lifelong learner, so that we can understand how a life with Christ can get better every day, instead of thinking that this is it and waiting to die and go to heaven. You see, in the Scripture, it says to us that while we look forward with the hope, I missed it. Verse 14 says, He gave His life to free us from every kind of sin, to cleanse us, and to make us His very own people, totally committed to doing good deeds. And so as we draw closer to Christ, then the good deeds that we generally do at Christmas and Easter should be a regular part of our life. Now the problem with that thinking is we say, well, that's works righteousness. That means that God's keeping score. And no, it's not works righteousness. What it is I do the work and I engage in the practices and the disciplines, whether that be prayer, whether that be meditation, whether that be good works, whether that be worship. And my focus really is on drawing closer to Christ and understanding the significance of this gift. And the good deeds should be a natural outflow of my life. If I exercise with those TRX straps every day, if I eat the right things, if I get the right amount of rest, I should never have to tell you that I'm working out with TRX straps. You'll know. You'll know. And so that's the beauty of this gift that we've received. This gift that Jesus gave us without any expectation of us giving a gift back. You see, the truth is there's not even expectation of you to draw closer to Him. It's your choice to do that. So you can unwrap the present of Jesus this morning. We can celebrate with a song. We can celebrate with the lighting of an Advent wreath. And you can walk away completely unchanged. You can come to church every week and remain completely unchanged. Or you can draw closer to Jesus as He draws closer to you. Instead of the hesitancy and the step back, when Jesus reaches out, what if there was a willing stepping toward? See, that's when Christianity begins to make sense. That's when our mindset starts to shift from a better preacher, a better worship service, a better Sunday school teacher, a better church. When all that moves from all this stuff to a better relationship with Jesus. And as I draw closer to Jesus, then guess what happens is I get to pretty much naturally forgive people who wrong me. I get to pretty much understand that there are people who need to be taken care of. That there is something about holy social justice. I get to understand that there is something bigger than me, and so now the question isn't, does that person deserve my time? The question isn't, does that person deserve me helping them? It's just naturally what happens out of your life because of your relationship with Jesus. It doesn't become about, well, if I go to the mission and I serve the hungry, then that's a mark in my column with Jesus. It's because I'm with Jesus that I go to the mission and I feed the hungry. It's because of Jesus that I can forgive my family member who wronged me. It's because of Jesus that I can overlook unintentional or intentional offenses. It's because of Jesus that I can have joy. I don't have joy so that I can have Jesus. The gift is Jesus. And that relationship with him. So, we come to the moment of the big box. We even moved it from over there to over here. And I bet there are some kiddos that would like to help with this big box. So if you're a little kiddo and you want to come up and help me unwrap this big box, I want you to come up and help me do that right now. Now don't start ripping away until I tell you though, okay? Come on up. Come on up. Pick your spot. There, you can get on the side there. Be careful of some stuff. Get in there. You got your spot there, and on the count of three, I'm going to let you guys go at it. Okay? I'm going to move you over here just a little bit. 1, 2. Now, I didn't say 3. I just want to make sure that you're ready to open this box. Are you ready to open the box? Okay, on the count of 5. 1, 2, 5. Get it all off. I want you to get all of the, get it off, get it off, get it off, get it off. Keep going, keep going. All right, there's the box. Okay, open the lid. Somebody open the lid. Can you open? You can't open the lid? It's a giant box.
I can't reach the giant box.
He's trying. He's opening. You know what? I'm going to tell you right now that you're not going to be able to get inside the box without help. Okay? Can I just tell you a secret about the gift of life that God's given you guys? Come back around here. Come on over here. Let me tell you something real quick. Gather right here. Good job. Come on over here, guys. I'm going to open up the rest of this box, but the reason I'm going to do it is because as you guys live the rest of your life and you follow Jesus, I want you to understand that Jesus will help you with the things that you can't do on your own. And you guys are never going to be able to open this box without my help. Maybe he might, but probably not, because there's staples, and I'm going to go ahead and open the box from up here. Ready? Okay.
Okay.
All right, we got some help over there. Even I needed help with James too. All right. This is a workout. I needed to be on the TRX straps before I did this. All right. So, all right. Just throw that down there on the floor behind you. Be careful, there's staples. What is in here? Now, why don't you all together around and hold this, okay? Everybody grab a hold of it.
Big thing. I can walk up the wall. Oh, man.
The greatest gift that we can receive on Christmas morning is the understanding that Jesus was born to die for us. Jesus was born with the purpose of dying for us. Let's make that gift worthy. Let's just stand with me. We're going to pray together, okay? As we get ready to pray, when you leave, there are going to be small crosses got a little necklace. And you can use it as a necklace, or you can take the necklace part off and you can just carry this around with you. And what I want you to remember is that this was a gift of Christmas for you. And so when you're struggling with life, when you're struggling with difficulty, can you remember that this gift is greater than anything else that you received this Christmas? And with this gift, you'll make it.